Hello there, you're now with me, Hari Zainuddin, for TVS News at 5. Now let's begin with our top stories for today. There have been requests and talks on the possibility of gazetting DEEPAVALI as a public holiday in Sarawak. However, according to the Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunopeng, the quota for gazetted holidays in the state is already full.
As such, the state government has asked the State Attorney General to study whether DEEPAVALI can be gazetted as another one of the state's public holidays. Abang Johari acknowledged that the issue had been brought up many times in the past, hence reiterating his stance on trying his best to resolve it. He said this after the earth-breaking ceremony for the building extension project to the Gurdwara Sahib on Saturday, July 2nd.
The Sarawak government has formulated its own strategy to stem rising living costs through the Post-COVID-19 Development Strategy, or PCDS 2030. Chief Political Secretary to the Premier, Fazruddin Abdul Rahman, said the state government has anticipated the impacts of the pandemic onto the economy and have taken steps to address the issue.
Fazruddin said the state government have long deliberated the impacts of COVID-19 and necessary steps have been taken to curb inflation and ensure the welfare of Sarawakians are continued to be taken care of. He said this when met by reporters after officiating at a Gotong Royong program at Taman Wan, Matang on July 2nd. Fazruddin, who is also Tupong Assemblyman, said while everyone is feeling the pinch due to the price hike on essential items, the state government, through its leaders, will continue to protect the welfare of all Sarawakians. He added that Sarawak will be able to bounce back from the global economic crisis through the strategy, but it takes time. Anticipating an annual growth of 6 to 8% per annum, he urged Sarawakians to equip themselves with the necessary skills as the industry will require skilled professionals when needed.
MIRI finally has its own Histopathology Lab contributed by the Shenyang Group of Companies. The 1.83 million ringgit lab was officially handed over to MIRI Hospital on July 1st. Witnessed by the Minister of Transport, Datuk Sri Lee Kim Shin, and is set to improve the quality of services for MIRI patients.
In the past, MIRI Hospital had no choice but to send all specimens to Kuching to be processed. Therefore, with the much-needed lab, it will enable MIRI Hospital to process the specimens faster and would save time, as well as allow the doctors to be more responsive to patients' expectations.
Now, if we don't have the lab here, we have to send all our specimens to Kuching. And the turnaround time may take, 2 weeks? Or more. Sometimes your specimen might be lost in between your mailing process and so on. So it's indeed very inconvenient, and that also affects the treatment of our patients here. And I think our specialists here will also get very frustrated because they don't get a result. If they don't get a result, they can't proceed. Our doctors, specialists cannot proceed with the treatment. So this goes to show how important it is that we have this molecular lab set up here.
Adding further, Lee, who is also Senadin Assemblyman, said the lab will enable MIRI Hospital to provide diagnosis services to patients in MIRI and the surrounding regions.
And with this new setup, we estimate to have better compliance of sample of turnaround time, or TAT, within 2 weeks. As a consequence, more prompt treatment can be offered to patients once the histology diagnosis is known. The service and impact of this lab goes beyond MIRI, as we also cover the whole northern Sarawak. So MIRI will also be catering for the patients from Marudi, Limbang, Lawas, and even from Bintulu.
Now, the Sarawak government has agreed to provide a site and an allocation for the construction of a control post in Lawas, located in the north of the state. Without giving a timeline for the implementation of the control post, the commander of the 1st Infantry Division, Major General Dato' Zulkifli Mustafa, said the state government had allocated 1.3 hectares of land in the area for the purpose of the construction site.
So, state government bersetuju dengan sokongan padu daripada Premier dan juga Datuk Awang Ali Tengah telah memberi kita sebidang tanah seluas 1.3 hektar di Lawas untuk dibina pos itu nanti. Pos ini juga nanti akan dibina atas dana daripada kerajaan negeri.
Meanwhile, on another matter, Zulkifli said in op bamboo that was carried out in Lawas recently, cigarettes worth 4.7 million ringgit were successfully seized.
Sebelum kita melaksanakan operasi kekal di Lawas, kita laksanakan dulu operasi bambu. Operasi bambu nama dia di kawasan Lawas. Kita berjaya menangkap 2 buah trailer yang membawa rokok. So, jumlah rokok tu adalah 4.7 juta ringgit.
He was speaking to reporters after the 56th anniversary parade of the 1st Division at Camp Panrinsen, involving 27 officers and 463 personnel, led by the commanding officer of the 8th Royal Artillery Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Jamaluddin Ahmad Tajuddin. At the same time, a parade in conjunction with the 31st Brigade anniversary will also be organized at 31 Brigade Junako Camp, Cebu on July 5th, with the theme Kesejahteraan Keluarga Tentera Darat Diutamakan, Kedaulatan Negara Terjamin.
Welcome back to News at 5. All government-linked companies, GLCs, and government-linked investment companies, GLICs, need to appoint representatives of the Malaysian Trades Union Congress, MTUC, as their board of members. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the move was an effort to add value to transparency, apart from enabling the voice of employees to be taken into account in all decisions made by the board.
Adding further, the Prime Minister also described MTUC, which represents 16.5 million workers in the country, as a good government partner and plays an important role in helping to revive the country's economy, which is now entering the transition phase to endemic. With the Pejuang Kaum Pekerja Sejak 1949 as its slogan, Ismail Sabri said the MTUC showed the important role led by the workers themselves and also received government recognition. As a result, MTUC officials are given the honor of being members of various statutory and special bodies, including the National Labour Advisory Council, the Employees Provident Fund (EPF), and the Social Security Organisation.
Menjadi harapan kerajaan supaya wakil pekerja berkenaan turut memainkan peranan dalam urusan pentadbiran nanti. Golongan pekerja seharusnya sama-sama menjaga kestabilan, perpaduan dan hubungan industri bukan hanya dalam kalangan pekerja tetapi juga kerajaan dan majikan bagi kejayaan proses pembangunan negara.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister also announced an annual grant allocation of 4 million ringgit to MTUC to implement significant awareness and training programs. Ismail Sabri added that MTUC also needed to create a more holistic, effective, and comprehensive education plan for its union members as well as other Keluarga Malaysia workers. Meanwhile, in a related development, Ismail Sabri said the government is implementing short, medium, and long-term measures to address the cost of living issue. These included providing 70 billion ringgit in subsidies this year to ensure that the people were not heavily burdened by the situation. Adding to that, he said that the rising cost of living is not only happening in Malaysia but all over the world. According to the Prime Minister, the inflation rate in Malaysia, currently stood at 2%, is still considered as low compared with other countries such as the United States 9%, European countries between 8 and 10%, and the United Kingdom at 12%.
Now wrapping up news at 5, effective July 4th, Malaysians returning to the country will no longer need to complete the Traveller's Pass feature in the MySejahtera application. However, Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said this would only apply to Malaysian citizens before being expanded in stages to social pass holders, student passes, and permanent residents.
As such, he explained that this relaxation is to facilitate the return of Malaysian citizens into Malaysia, in addition to the current health system being at a good and satisfactory level. He added that the Traveller's Pass feature will still be displayed in the MySejahtera application and needed to be completed by foreigners before entering the country.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally, just a click away by heading on to our website at www.tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. That's all the time that we have for TVS News at 5. I'm Hari Zainuddin. It's been a pleasure.